and I'm a candidate for the United States House of Representatives for the 11th District of Ohio, and I would love to have your vote and your support. I'm concerned about many things. And here's my information pertaining to my candidacy. And as you see, these are my campaign identification numbers. And it's for this 2018 election. You've been hearing me speak a lot about many issues, inclusive of but not limited to violence against women and children. This is when I was speaking at the Republican National Convention downtown Cleveland, Ohio, when I was a candidate for the 2016 election against Mr. Donald Trump and Mrs. Hillary Clinton. Those was one of the speakers' platforms that I did speak on. I am a licensed ordained preacher. I was the chairperson for the religious affairs for the re-election of the Honorable Mayor Frank G. Jackson. I did the opening speech and the invocation for the National Women's March on Public Square, January the 21st, 2017. And I did the invocation also, and I spoke at the International Women's March on March the 8th, 2017. I marched and rallied with the women on January 21st, 2017, on the front line. The chant I did was "Women have a voice and women have a choice." One of the matters that I am addressing and that I'm very genuinely concerned about, I see there's some woman named Kavanaugh in the Supreme Court where they're making a big to-do about. Those same women supporting her have refused to assist me in my endeavors and my concerns. As a matter of fact, I've made sure that no one sees me or sees my concerns or will support me in what I'm doing. And I have been making multiple efforts to meet with Sheriff Clifford Pinckney, who is actually my first cousin in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, for crimes still being committed against me. And it has not taken place. These are the most recent documents I filed in the courts. This is the U.S. District Court. And this is the state and local court. These are police reports that I have filed for crimes committed against me, as well as crimes committed against my children when they lived with me when they were minors. Well, the government got a hold to my children, and then all of a sudden my children ended up with criminal records. One of the things that's bothering me about this process also is on this court document, they may look really legal. They try to make it look really, really legitimate. It has, as you see, it's been faxed from one state to another. Do you see what I have observed? You see the Social Security numbers, and you see the dates of birth. Okay. They have that information about my children and me. But they claim they don't know what about the fathers. On this document, it says that Don Salette works for Rock Hill Missionary Baptist Church. And they know that's not true because he's been working for the city of Cleveland for many, many years. And he works for the city of Cleveland right now. Cleveland, Ohio. Works for the government. But he can rape his own sons, babies, and my daughters and me and get away with it. And no one says a thing. And they claim they don't know where the father of my daughters works, when they know that's not accurate either, because they've been keeping him gainfully employed and making deals with him after he stated that we were niggers born to serve men, and he could prove it through the Bible. And this clearly states that my children substantiated the abuses. I wasn't in the interview, so they can't say I made them say anything. I reported the abuse to the authorities of our being abused, and when my children began disclosing to me, I reported it to the authorities as I was supposed to. As you see on here, it says that my son was born in 2000, and then they have his age is 3. If this took place October 10th, 2002, he wouldn't be 3 years old, he'd be 2 years old. On here, it says that he didn't say anything. Well, if he's 2 years old, what would he have said? And my other son, Joshua, if he's 5 years old, was terrified, which he was 5 years old at the time. I was on my way to pick him up from half-day kindergarten when my babies were stolen from me. On here, you see this for yourselves. James McCafferty, in a dialogue between he and Peggy Serby, signed off by Jill Edwards, committing perjury, stated that he thought a referral was done. He didn't think that. But we have media promoting some woman because she's white, as if she's supposedly a victim, and I won't say that some things may not have happened with her 16 years later, while my matters are still not addressed in the courts or anywhere else on my behalf. Federal Representative Marsha L. Fudge's office has these information in her office and has refused to do anything to help me, along with Federal Senator Sherrod Brown, state representatives, and other political figures. So do other law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, the police department, Cleveland Police Department, Indiana Police Department, Marion County Sheriff's Department, etc. The United States Department of Justice, while Stephen Dettelbach was working with there, and many other places. I recently spoke to someone in the Attorney General's office. They called me and said they were from there. And I also spoke to someone in the Inspector General's office, and the woman was extremely rude towards me. And what I'm bothered by is that there's this picture depicted that if I have a little bit of melanin in my skin, I'm supposed to follow behind the footsteps behind a quote-unquote white woman or a Seleucid. Otherwise, I don't matter. And I had better do what I'm told to do by them. I am related to the Queen of England through my dad's side of the family, who they have shown to be white, as one would call it. And unless she approves who I am, then I'm not supposed to matter. And I'm also related to George Washington through my dad also, and who was the first real white person to free slaves. And because I tell judges like James Payne and others that I'm not a nigger or a slave, then they do these horrible things to me. I've run for president of the United States 3 times. I ran against Barack Obama twice, and I ran against this man they have in office now, Donald Trump. I used to attend New Spirit Revival Center until Pastors Daryl and Belinda Scott and their people denied me equal opportunities in ministry and also helped me be abused, as well as my children. So I'm not a Daryl and Belinda Scott fan. I just put it like that. They know the situation. I called them when I fled with my 4 babies under the civil protection order that was in place already. And just so you know, this is not just a list of police reports. The police reports exist. That never, 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 never. I'm saying that again and again and again. Never. Not to stall you, but never, so you'll know. Not one of them ever got routed anywhere. On one of the police reports, it says that someone named Andrew Cox investigated it through Children's Services. That's not possible. He couldn't have investigated anything if he didn't talk to me, since I'm the victim and I'm reporting my children being victimized. So it couldn't have been an investigation. These are my multiple efforts to go to. They say you have to start in the local prosecutor's office. I did, as you see. I've been there multiple times. Kimberly Barnett gave me a referral for felonies that never got followed through on. These are some of the documents from my multiple efforts over the years to address these matters. As you see, they're legitimate. You see who they went to. You see the dates. See the information. So what's the problem? This is a piece I authored and published, Prodigal Protocols in the Courts, as you can see. And it's in Oprah Winfrey's library also. She used my predicament to promote her television shows. And then her attorney had the nerve to write me a letter and tell me I can't prove it. I'll never be able to prove it. I don't know if you all remember when she had the series about the woman who had been abused by 2 Baptist preachers. Well, that was based upon what came out of my piece. As you see, I am a candidate. But this is not the only thing I'm concerned about either, just so you know that. And as you see, I have been a candidate. My voting rights violated. Pat McDonald, in order to promote a homosexual agenda and to put homosexuals in leadership position and homosexuals to run the country, I went to them because they violated my voting rights and made my ballots disappear, as well as put the wrong information of my residency in the computer, and then told me that he wasn't going to do anything to correct it. And for this election, I went and I had my petitions that were stamp marked on time, and Betty Edwards would not take my petitions. So in order to avoid a dispute, because when I ask people questions, they would like to call deputies on me and have me beat up and thrown in jails. They refused to take my petition, so you have to write my name in on the ballot, Reverend Pamela M. Pinckney Butts. And as you see, that's how it is on the Federal Elections Commission website. Some good things that are in place is that Mayor Jackson's doing a lot of good things for the city of Cleveland. Unfortunately, he has some bad people around him, but he's doing some good things. And I would love to have your vote. I reported abuse. I never got my children back. And no one ever fought for me to get them back or to reunite us or to tell my children the truth about me, that I've done nothing wrong, and to protect and provide for us. I was being abused before I had my children. That wasn't addressed either. I currently live in conditions that are not acceptable to me and wouldn't be acceptable for certain other people, especially if I were declared to be jet black or all white or some of these other things and some of these other categories. And please remember to vote for me. Early voting begins October the 10th, 2018. And I appreciate your time. You be blessed.